Hey guys, it's me, and you're probably getting sick of my face and this background. I've made quite a few videos today and I am exhausted, but I wanted to make this video because it has been a long time coming and I have been not avoiding it, but I've just been putting it off, and I just feel like I just need to do it because so many people keep asking for an update. So this is going to be my update on my endometriosis. It's been over a year actually that I did my last update, which I keep forgetting that not everybody checks the date of my videos, so I get comments on that video probably, I know every day, but sometimes it's like up to 5 comments a day. If I don't respond back to them, it's not because I'm ignoring you, it's just because I'm overwhelmed with so many comments sometimes. As you guys know, I have 3 kids and, you know, a busy schedule, so I can't always get to everybody, but I read all of them and they're so uplifting, and some of them just break my heart because it's just so hard to read about, you know, read things from people who are going through exactly the same thing that I was or am, and it's just, it just hurts, you know. It's sad that we have to do that. So none of this video is really going to make sense unless you've watched that update video, so I will leave that up here and also below this video if you want to check that out. I'm not going to really repeat a whole lot of that video, so again, this video is not going to make sense. This is just an update of how I'm doing right now because so many of you guys have asked, and I just want to kind of talk about what I've done in my life that has positively affected me and helped me maintain my endometriosis since then. So where we last left off, I was a few months out from donating my eggs to my friend so that they could have their own baby, and since then that child is now, let's see, we just saw her last weekend. She is now almost 8 months old. Sorry, tacky bra strap. She's now almost 8 months old, and yeah, so it's been quite a while since then. I have been feeling so much better since that last video. I don't know, the sad thing about this video is I'm not going to be able to tell you what exactly made my body change its mind and to start behaving, but I can just tell you everything that I went through and what has helped me get to the point to where I am. The last video I made, I was really struggling to deal with my endometriosis. Not only was I struggling on the daily with the pain and the side effects of having it, but also the reality of having it and kind of realizing that this is the rest of my life. I went through a lot of dark times last year and the year before that. You know, at points, like I mentioned, I felt like just dying, just ending my life because I couldn't imagine having and going through the pain that I was going through every single month. It was that bad that it didn't seem like it was worth it. But as I said in that last video, I have 3 beautiful children. I have a loving family, a loving husband, loving friends. I am happy when I'm not suffering from my endometriosis, and I wasn't gonna let it get the best of me. So since that video, I've made a lot of positive changes in my life. As I mentioned in it, I did give up gluten for quite some time. I would say almost 8 months I was gluten-free. I also gave up caffeine. I've been caffeine-free since last summer, not this past summer, but the summer before that, so it's been over a year, a good amount over a year that I've been strictly caffeine-free, minus chocolate every once in a while. I've cut back on my sugars very, very a lot. I've stopped drinking Starbucks, even decaf. I used to get it like multiple times a week with my husband, but we're trying to live a healthier lifestyle and also a better lifestyle without spending money there, because we used to spend a lot of money there. So we cut back on that. I do treat myself every once in a while, but it's maybe once every 2 months instead of 5 times a week or 4 times a week, which I know sounds ridiculous, but sometimes that's what I would do. So that and giving up pop. Like, I don't even drink Sprite. The only time we ever drink caffeine-free pop, like root beer or Sprite or things like that, is if we're at the movies. Or if I find a really, like, low-sugar root beer from, like, a specialty store or something like that, that's when I'll drink it. But we've given up a lot of those things because they're really high fructose and sugar and all of that. So ever since I gave up caffeine and high sugars, I have felt a huge difference in my lower back pain, in my cramping, everything. So first I want to start off by saying that caffeine has really, really, really negatively affected my endo. Since I've given it up, it's made a huge difference. So I gave up that. Like I mentioned, I also gave up gluten for a while. I noticed that since I gave up caffeine and gluten at the same time, I hated not being able to have gluten. It was a pain in the butt. I just hated it. So after about 8 months, I was feeling better, and I wanted to see if it was the caffeine that was doing that or the gluten. So I did start bringing back gluten slowly into my diet. I noticed that if I did too much gluten, like if I ate gluten at every single meal, I felt I would have terrible IBS. And I just felt like crap. I didn't have any cramping, I just had the IBS bowel issues. So I tried to moderate that and see if that would help, and it totally did. As long as I take gluten like sparingly, I am perfectly fine. So I have added that back into my diet. Another thing that has happened since then is I have gotten off of the Depo-Provera. I think when we last talked about my endo, I was on Depo-Provera every 8 weeks. I actually went a whole nother year doing that. I was in so much pain. The cramps, everything was just, it was manageable, but it still wasn't to the point where I could go on with my daily life. So I did stay on the Depo-Provera. Again, it was suggested since the egg donation and all of the hormones I was injecting into my body for the retrieval to produce more eggs. That really escalated my endo. That was something that I was warned about by my OBGYN. That's why he was concerned of me doing it in the first place. But I didn't care. I wanted to help my friend. So I was expecting that, but I was hoping that if by going back onto the Depo-Provera that I would just be back to normal, you know, like before when I was on the Depo-Provera. I thought it would just immediately work. Well, it took months and months for it to finally like settle down whatever was going on in my body, or, you know, slow things down again. I was again taking it every 8 weeks, and you're supposed to take it every 12, and I did that for about another year. Towards the end of maybe my 3rd injection, so I don't know, over halfway through the year, I started to notice that my my cramps were getting less and all of that, but my teeth were starting to loosen. I would have, I could just feel them kind of cracking, like moving. I would floss and I could feel them move. My joints were hurting a lot. And I started getting really scared because Depo-Provera is really bad for calcium depletion. It just really, you're not supposed to stay on Depo-Provera or Lupron for more than 2 years because it can deplete your calcium. Well, I'm already susceptible for osteoporosis because I am a smaller person, smaller framed. So that really scared me, and the fact that my teeth were loose and I was having nightmares of my teeth falling out, I didn't want to risk that. I started talking to my doctor, and he suggested a hormone replacement therapy, which, you know, I did do for a month. It didn't seem to make any difference at all. So we started talking about other options. At this point, I had done a ton of research on a product called Endovan. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit, but it was something that I kind of saw online when I was desperately searching for answers because I couldn't be on the Depo-Provera anymore and I didn't want to have surgery yet. So I looked to the internet and I found this product called Endovan, formerly known as Fibrovan or Fibro something, I don't know. Anyways, so I kind of put that on the back burner. I did some research and then kind of forgot about it. In between doing the hormone replacement and the Endovan, I started working out. I started feeling really just like fed up with my body. I kind of had this epiphany of like, screw you, if you're not going to behave, then I'm going to just kick you into submission. I saw that I've been wanting to do kickboxing for a long time. I had seen, you know, ads, I'd seen videos, I'd seen it in movies, and I was just like, oh, you know, I want to, you know, I would love to do that, but I was always too scared. Well, suddenly there was an ad online for a deal. I think it was like 3 classes for $19.99 plus free gloves, or 5 classes for $20 or 20 something, $24.99 and free gloves, you know, that kind of thing. So I got my friend to sign up with me. I just was like, I'm gonna bite the bullet, I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna do this. I need to work out. I felt like crap. I wasn't sleeping well. My joints hurt, my body hurt, my back hurt. I was having cramps anyways. I'm like, I'm just gonna try, you know. I started working out and running, and it just was like a huge difference. It was a huge difference. You know, I was doing yoga, which helped as well. I'm terrible at timelines. I had started yoga last what's a year and 2 months ago, I had started yoga, and it was like really beneficial. It was helping with back pain and all of that. Like I said, I can't pinpoint one thing that helped me, but that was really helping and getting me back into shape. And so I wanted to take that a step further with my cardio, so that's when I started running, which really started helping, but it was too hard on my knees, and then that's when I found kickboxing. So okay, now we're to kickboxing again. So I started doing my kickboxing classes, and it was amazing. I felt like crap at first because I was really tired. You know, with endometriosis, you get fatigue and all of that, and sometimes when you work your body out more, the fatigue is worse. But I fought through it. It took me probably, I want to say, a month, but after a month of consistently 3 times a week working out, I got over that hump. That hump that my body was just like telling me you can't get over. I got over that. I worked through it. I went even when I was exhausted. I went even when I didn't want to get out of bed. And slowly but surely the exercise started feeding me energy like it's supposed to for normal people. That was a huge difference in my lifestyle, because not only was I physically feeling better just all around, but I was getting more sleep and I was feeling more energized throughout the day, which is a huge complaint that most people have with endometriosis. I was still having cramps every once in a while, but they were nothing compared to what they used to be. It was nothing that an ibuprofen couldn't fix, and, you know, sitting down for a little bit. So at that point, I felt like I needed to get off the Depo-Provera. I felt like because I was naturally handling everything better and my body was at this point where it was good, that I could get off the Depo-Provera and be okay, because I was just, I couldn't handle losing my teeth and having my joints and bones and everything become brittle. Like, I just couldn't. So that, and I was only allowed to be on it for a few more months anyways. So at that point, this was like, I want to say 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I was at the peak of my adult physical life. Like, I was not to where I was when I was in high school and playing soccer and softball and running, but I was in I was probably in the best shape of my adult life. I was feeling great. I was losing weight. As you guys know, if you follow me, I gained about 20 pounds on the Depo-Provera since the egg donation. So within 8 months, I had gained 19 point something pounds. My pants weren't fitting. My face is a lot rounder still than what it used to be if you look back to my old videos before the egg donation. For some reason, the Depo just negatively affected me this time around, and I gained a lot of weight on it. And my mom, who is a nurse practitioner OB/GYN, basically said, well, as long as you're on Depo, you're just going to keep gaining weight. So it was really hard to work against that when I was running and doing yoga and kickboxing. It was like so difficult to like start getting my body back weight-wise. It was really frustrating. So because of all of those things, because I was feeling better, because the Depo was ruining my bones and my teeth and making me gain so much weight and was so unhealthy for me, and because I'd already been on it for almost 2 years, I needed to find a plan to get off of it and off of it safely. So at this point, because I couldn't do Lupron and I couldn't do Depo, I needed to find my next step. So I went back to researching Endovan, and it's not the cheapest drug, and unfortunately my insurance does not cover it, but what it is it's a dietary supplement for endometriosis relief. Each one comes in 60 caplets. You're supposed to take 2 a day for 3 months, and then you can go down to 1 a day after that, or you can continue on your 2 a day if you feel like you need it. It says it's scientifically formulated to safely and naturally dissolve the painful fibrin-based adhesions associated with all stages of endometriosis. These adhesions can cause severe abdominal and pelvic pain, especially during menstruation and ovulation, pain during bowel movements, and urination, and pain during intercourse. So I found this, I did a lot of research, I couldn't find a single negative thing about this online, which red flagged me immediately. It was like, okay, not everything is perfect, and if this is so great, why aren't doctors talking about it? I had all of these just doubts. I talked to my mom about a lot of it. I showed her all the ingredients to see if it was safe. This used to be called Fibrovan, like I mentioned, because it was used to shrink fibroids or make them disappear. The basis about this is that it's supposed to thin your blood or do something to clear out all of that gross, just everything, like all the blood clots and adhesions that have built up in your body that cause you pain. So after a while, and out of sheer desperation, I formulated this plan with my doctor and my mom and my husband, where I would purchase the Endovan because they both were like, hey, you've tried everything else, you're exercising, you're doing everything right, you're doing your diet, you know, you've changed your lifestyle, you've tried Depo-Provera, you've tried Lupron, like, you know, what's it hurt to try? So we came up with a plan that I would buy a 3-month supply of this, because like I said, you're supposed to take 2 a month, 2 a day for 3 months to see if it really works. That's what the website says. So I bought 3 because you get a deal, like a price difference if you buy 3 of them at a time. I've gone through 2 bottles and I am now down to like 10 or 12 of these. And I didn't want to talk about this until I was towards the end, but I actually started only taking 1 a day the 3rd month. I took 2 a day for the first 2 months and I started on my 1 a day. I can honestly say that I am now completely off of my Depo. This is the first month where the Depo has ran its course out of my system because I was on it for so long. My pain has come back, but very little. I will, like, last week, a few weeks ago at Kroger when I was walking around with John, I had some really just sharp, terrible pains that I had not felt in 2 years that put me in the hospital those first few times. I felt those. I'd stop walking and they'd go away and they'd come back. I took an ibuprofen, laid down for a little bit, they were gone the next day. I haven't felt them since. That's the extent of the pain that I've had since being completely off Depo-Provera. Since taking the Endovan, because I did start it while I was on the Depo, my doctor suggested that so that way, you know, because it does warn you that it causes bleeding and all of that, because it's, you know, clearing out your system. He suggested that I do it while I was on Depo-Provera, so that way the Depo-Provera would help negate some of that bleeding. And since getting on it, I've had, like I said, a little bit more energy. Again, though, I've been kickboxing and running and yoga, so I don't know if that has something to, you know, I don't know which one comes first. But I have felt another extra little boost of energy since then. I've been happier mood-wise. I don't know if that's because I've been off Depo-Provera though. Like I said, I can't pinpoint one thing, but I know you guys wanted me to talk about this, so I'm trying to, but as truthfully and honest as possible. I've also had less cramping. Like I said, I had that one little moment, but not a full-on at all. I had my first official ovulation last week, so right now I'm on the verge of starting my first real cycle since being off Depo-Provera. I had like symptoms of cycles while I was on Depo-Provera. Like, I know it's hard to explain, but I still had those feelings. Like, I could tell every month when my cycle would be. But this is the first time where I did ovulate, and I know that I'm going to start my period or have that come soon. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes while not being on Depo-Provera. But I have high hopes that the Endovan is working and that it won't be as bad as before. I only have, like I said, like 12 left of these, so I asked my husband if it's worth it for me to buy another 3 month, which I think is like $150 for 3 months or $120 or something like that. It's a lot of money to spend on something that you don't know if it's gonna work, but my husband and my mom and my doctor and my, you know, thoughts are kind of like, well, it's not hurting me and I have felt better, so why not keep trying? So I think I'm gonna order another 3-month supply of it just to see how I am in 3 months, because I think that'll be the real deciding factor, because I will have been off Depo-Provera for multiple months and the only thing that I will be on will be this Endovan. Like I said though, I used to need my Depo-Provera shots every 8 weeks. Like every 8 weeks on the dot, I would be in so much pain until my mom would inject me. Now, after I started the Endovan, it was 10 weeks, then it was 13 weeks, then it was 14 weeks, and now I'm to the point where my Depo-Provera is completely out of my system, and I have felt maybe one little sharp shooting pain to the point where I felt like, oh my god. So, like I said, I'm hopeful. Like I said, I think it is helping to a certain extent. Whether or not it's actually doing what it's supposed to do, we will see. I will say that some of the things that have happened since taking it that weren't happening before is that I have been, up until about 2 weeks ago, I've been consistently bleeding. This is going to be TMI, but it's been a really dark consistency, and like, I don't know how to explain it. It looked like death. Like if I had thought about blood death, that's what it looked like. It was very dark. It was very just like light, but very dark. I talked to my mom about it, and she said usually that is basically like old blood. That's what it is. So we kind of wondered that maybe that was the Endovan. Maybe that was all that old adhesions and old blood that had been sitting inside of me. Maybe like Endovan says it's supposed to, it's clearing all that out. It does warn you you're going to have heavy bleeding for a while. Well, it clears out your system. So maybe that's what it was. But for probably 2.5 to 3 months, that's what's been happening. And it doesn't hurt. It doesn't, I mean, it's more bothersome than anything because I have to wear a pad or something like that. But I'm hopeful that that's what it's doing. It's clearing out old stuff that's been causing me pain. So we're hoping the Endovan's gonna work. Now, if the Endovan doesn't work, if I do start having ridiculous pain this month or next month, our next step is to go in and laparoscopy everything out. I have been trying to avoid surgery forever. Since I was diagnosed 2.5 years ago, I have been trying to avoid it. I don't like going under anesthesia. I don't like the idea of somebody going around inside of me. I kind of wish when I had my tubal, when they found it, that they would have just taken it out, but they couldn't make that decision for me. So my next step, if the Endovan's not working, my last step is surgery. So I talked to my doctor and we're gonna do a laparoscopy, which is where they make a tiny incision, which is basically what they did with my tubal. So they'll probably just go in the same way they did last time. And they'll go in and instead of burning off all of my adhesions, they're gonna actually cut everything out. My doctor's like, we need to go in there full force. If this doesn't work, we need to just get it out. So he's gonna cut everything out and then hope that that works. Another issue that I have is I have a fibroid cyst on my right ovary. A lot of the battle when I started having the pain and was winding up in the emergency room consistently was that everybody was like, well, you know you have a fibroid cyst here, you know you have a fibroid tumor here, and everybody was like, that's probably what's causing your pain. So it's causing me pain only once a month, it's there all the time. Why isn't it causing me pain all the time? And my OB/GYN was like, it's not big enough to cause you pain, that kind of thing. So I was getting mixed signals about that, but I'm to the point where I don't think that fibroid, it's doing me any good. So I've made the decision that when he goes in to do the laparoscopy, I'm going to ask him to take out the fibroid cyst as well. And I've already okayed him to take out my right ovary if it's got too many cysts on it, to the point where it's not doing me any good. So the next step, like I said, if the Endovan doesn't work, if I start having pain again this month or next month, then come January when my husband's vacation time re-ups again, I'm gonna have to take a week off and they're gonna go in, do the laparoscopy, and then possibly take out my right ovary and then also that fibroid cyst. I really wanted to avoid surgery because I've been told numerous times from people, from you guys even, that your pain has come back. My doctor said the same thing, it's not guaranteed. A lot of people have to get the surgery every year, which I do not want to do because my deductible is terrible and I don't want to go under the knife every year. So I was avoiding it for that reason, and I was also avoiding a hysterectomy like so many of you guys have suggested, and then so many of you guys have said don't do it, because hysterectomies for somebody my age, in my situation, I'm not talking about for everybody, but in my situation can be more harmful than good. Hysterectomies have been proven to not 100% cure endometriosis. A lot of people still have pain afterwards, or it comes back afterwards. A lot of people suffer worse things after getting hysterectomy because it does the same thing. It depletes your calcium. It really just puts your body into early menopause, which for somebody who's 29 isn't always the greatest idea. So to kind of figure that out, I've decided, like I said, if I just have a partial where they take out one ovary and I still am left with one, I'll still be able to, produce calcium and all of that, and I won't be thrown into early menopause, but hopefully it'll help. So that's where I'm at. I want to hold off from a hysterectomy as long as possible. If I have to get one, say when I'm in my late 30s, fine. But if I can hang on to my uterus, hang on to one of my ovaries or both of them, then I'm gonna try, because that's what's the healthiest for my body. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm feeling hopeful, which I haven't felt in a long time. I'm feeling healthy. This last month, I tore ligaments in my right wrist, so I couldn't work out for 2 months. It was the longest 2 months, and I went back to kickboxing last week for the first time, and I was so out of shape. But working out, I gotta tell you guys, if you can get over that hump of being exhausted from your endo, if you can just get out there and walk regularly or do some cardio, it will do a huge change in your system. Like I said, it took me a month of feeling like crap and getting sick, and everything like that and feeling like I could not get out of bed. But once I got through that month, it was amazing. And I hope to get back to that point now that I can go back to working out. When I wasn't working out this last month or 2 months, I got strep throat, a cold, the flu, and then another cold, and then strep throat again, all within those 2 months. I was sick constantly, and it was because I was not working out. So I would say cutting out caffeine completely, minus chocolate every once in a while, lowering my high fructose sugars, working out consistently, not just every once in a while, but like 3 times a week working out, and resetting my body with that Depo-Provera. I would say those are the things that have completely changed my life. I feel just 100% better. I won't say 100%. I feel 95% better. Like I said though, the one thing that kind of sucks about endo is that you're a ticking time bomb, and it's depressing, but you have to kind of live with it. But you know, as hopeful as I am and as great as I feel right now, or as great as I felt 2 months ago before I, you know, tore ligaments in my wrist, I'm a ticking time bomb. You know, whatever I'm doing right now could possibly not work tomorrow, and it could possibly not work in a month. Like, I still have those thoughts of like, you know, if I start working outside of the home, like, what's to say that one weekend when I'm out at work, or one day when I'm at work and not at home, I don't have an endo attack? Like, it doesn't just come back. You know, that's the sucky part about endo, is you never know when it will come back, and you never know when it will strike. So, like I said, I'm hopeful, but at the same time, it's hard not, I'm a little frustrated because I do feel like a ticking time bomb. Like, everything's going really well right now, you know, what if? But again, I'm going to stay hopeful because I think that's better than being negative. But yeah, so that is my plan right now. Endovan. If Endovan doesn't work, laparoscopy and fibroid removal and possible ovary removal. And then if that doesn't work, then I guess a hysterectomy. But again, I'm just going to try to hold off as long as possible. So no caffeine, lower your sugars, get more rest, work out consistently. And if you want to try it, I guess Endovan. Like I said though, I don't want to tell you guys like, oh, this is the miracle pill, go out and buy it, because it costs so much money. I don't want to tell you guys that because I don't 100% know if it's gonna fix my endo. But what I can tell you is that everything works differently for everybody, and it's not gonna do you any harm to try unless you can't afford it. And in that case, I would suggest not doing it. But if you can afford it, and you've tried everything else, then I guess give it a go. You know, I did, and I'm feeling better. So I don't know, I'm feeling better. So I don't know. I'm gonna, like I said, keep taking it, order another 3 bottles, and see where I go from there. And I will keep you updated, of course. But again, I know like the second I mentioned Endovan and my appointment, everybody's like, oh, update, 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 let us know. But I couldn't, and I still technically can't completely update you because I haven't been on it long enough. But it's not doing anything negatively to me, and I do feel better since I started it. So that's all I can say as of right now about it. But yeah, so that is my update. I apologize if it was all over the place. I feel like my last one was too. It's kind of hard to remember when you start doing stuff, because for me at least, having endometriosis, that's all I think about every day. So every day seems to be like the same thing of like, how can I fix this? How can I fix this? How can I feel better? So when I start something, I start like 12 different things. Like I said, yoga, running, kickboxing, giving up caffeine, giving up gluten, like Endovan, like I try all of it at once. So it's hard for me to timeline all of that for you. But I will say that life has gotten a lot better. It just took time. It took changes in my lifestyle. It took just not giving up, and that's the biggest thing I want to just convey to you guys, is that a lot of you guys come to me and I feel like I can feel through what you're writing that you're on the verge of giving up. And I just like you guys wrote to me in that last video, like, just don't give up. I know that suicide is one of, you know, things that correlates with endometriosis. A lot of women have gone that route because they weren't taken seriously or couldn't find answers. And all I can say is hold on to something, whether it's your kids or your spouse or your family or your parents or your dog or your job or anything that you love. Just hang on to that and just keep trucking. Try different things. You know, a lot of people give up red meat. which I am not against doing if that's the next thing I need to try. Just try, try before you give up, because it's worth it. I'm happy where I'm at right now, even though, again, I feel like at any point that could change, but I'm willing to face that, because I know that if I can go from where I was last year or even 2 years ago to where I'm at now, then there's always something that maybe I can do to make myself feel better. It's gonna be a battle for probably the rest of my life, but if I can find short cures, it's better than not existing at all. So don't give up, keep with it. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Again, I know that there are other dietary changes that I can make to my life. A lot of you guys send me links and make suggestions, and I know, trust me, I have done extensive research on everything that I can do to make my life better and make my body feel better, and I've tried a lot of those things, but again, I'm not willing to take all of the happiness out of my life just to maintain my endo. So like I said, I'm trying little things here and there, and if it works, then great, but I'm not gonna just strip my diet down to only leafy greens if I don't have to, kind of. So yeah, so hang in there, guys. I know it's hard. I hope that this video gives you some hope that things can change for the better. I think the biggest thing that people have said is that they're frustrated because nobody believes them, and all I can say is just keep looking for doctors. Search doctors in your areas that have experience with endometriosis or things like that. Find an RE, find, just anybody that will listen, and if they won't listen, then go find somebody else, because it took a long time for anybody to believe the pain that I was going through, and now that I have the support of my husband and my mom and my kids and my doctor, it's just, that has really changed my life the most, is that now that I'm understood and supported by the people that I need to understand me and support me. So if you can't find somebody that's willing to do that, then go look somewhere else. Go find somebody else. These doctors, they don't know everything. They don't know you. They don't know your situation. And sometimes it just takes a few bad ones to find a good one. So hang in there. Like I said, if you have any questions, please leave them below. I will link the first video to this underneath this video. Yeah, I had a lot of people ask me if I regret anything that I've done. Having kids, doing the egg donation. I joked with John the other day that, like, it's funny, we love Kaya so much, but I didn't start having these real bad attacks until after she was born. But I don't regret having her. Like, if she is what kind of caused my body to be thrown into this weird cycle suddenly, I don't really care, because I love that girl to death. I love our family. She completes the family. I love my 3 kids. I love my husband. I wouldn't change anything. And, in regards to doing the egg donation, seeing how happy Lisa and Bill are with their daughter, and Gemma being so well taken care of, like, I don't regret that 1 minute either. It's easy to be like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that, I'd feel so much better, but at the same time, like, I feel good just as much knowing that I did that than I would knowing that I didn't have any pain, if that makes sense. Like, yeah, I could be happy, living a pain-free life or whatever, but at the same time, like, I'm just as happy living a painful life knowing that I made somebody else's life better, if that makes sense. So I don't regret anything. If anything, I regret not giving up caffeine sooner, or, working out sooner, because those things have just changed my life. And if I would have known that it had such a positive effect on me like it has, I would have done it a long time ago. So, yeah, but it's not your fault. If you're not active because your endo fatigues you like it did me, I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is to get out of bed. And it is, I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I still have those mornings where sometimes I just can't get out of bed. And like I said, it's just, I know the battle, and I don't blame you if you don't go out and work out, but if you can and you can get through that hump, it's totally worth it. So I think that's about it. I think I babbled enough. I just want to hug you all. Like, I just want to give you guys all hugs. Like, it's amazing, the outpouring of support that I've gotten from you guys. Even from ages like 15 to like 53 I've heard from, and even though it sucks that we all have this, it's also very comforting to know that we're not alone. So yeah, I will talk to you guys all in my next video. Bye.